So on my most recent video, I went over a slew of Fiona Harvey's Facebook posts. And all of those posts I read on that video were from only April 25th through April 28th on her Facebook account. And those posts that I read were only some of the posts she put up during those 4 days. So I'm going to pick up where I left off at the end of April 28th and read some more of her posts. But for this video, I'm only going to read her posts from April 29th. This entire video will consist of some of her posts that she posted on Facebook in just one day. This account is being shut down because it's being invaded still by Richard Gadd's stalkers. It's totally unacceptable. We will be saving data and handing names to lawyers. We are getting computer specialists to save all data, then we'll report Gadd-type stalkers to police. I've been bombarded by texts since Friday night at 10:30 by one woman claiming to be a publicist. There is no trace of her online. The office number she gave me is not a proper office number. She said in among these texts, if I made loads of money out of this chaos caused by Gadd, what would I spend the money on? Do people think my head zips up the back? The latest text was she was trying to get me an interview with the Sun. Well, I've already done an interview with Robert at the Sun. I phoned them to alert them. We possibly had one of Gadd's mad stalker pals on the loose. I will engage proper publicists, not hoaxers, thanks very much. I'm in the middle of doing other things, and frankly, we've already had the Daily Mail once again publish everything Gadd and his lawyers have to say and nothing I said in taped interview. They are now the subject of complaints to the regulators. The last thing I need are hoaxers on my phone 24 hours a day. How do I know she was a hoaxer? She could barely write English. It wasn't just the odd typo and her English was so bad. She's English, but this was bad. I'm aware there are 2 typos here, but I'm busy. So stop stalking me, please, whoever thinks this is a good idea. Believe me, it's a very bad idea. Fiona. 60 texts on that Wii phone has also meant I've missed legitimate calls today. It's bang out of order. Maybe people out there think this is funny. Frankly, I don't. I'm all nutted out dealing with nutters on the phone in London today. I can't get a straight answer to anything. I did, however, phone publicists I know. No one has ever heard of that woman who sent me all those texts, and I certainly have not. I would also say to Neil at the Daily Mail, I don't live alone, so if you and Gadd were trying to make it easier for stalkers to attack me, that won't work. I don't live alone, Neil, and I don't live in the flat you visited, so get your facts straight. Also, if you divulge any more info, I will sue more than we already have decided to sue your newspaper. I'm fed up playing these little boy media games, I really am. And Neil of the Daily Mail, I also didn't say I gained 4 stone in lockdown. I said the woman who played Martha probably had. I was told as a type 1 diabetic to isolate, so I did. I gained a stone, which I'm losing. I really think the Daily Mail need to get the facts straight. They are the no one media outlet being discussed by the regulators constantly. Every time I read that Daily Mail article, I get more distortion of the truth. It may be Gadd's go-to newspaper. It certainly isn't mine. They would get off my phone, and who put them on it? Gadd. As to the mystery publicist stalker, well, I've tried to block her number from my phone. Investigations are ongoing as to who she is. Thanks for watching. If you like the work I do here and want to help support the channel, there's a PayPal link on the homepage. All donations are appreciated and help maintain the channel. Meanwhile, I'd like to get on with very important things in my life. I'm not some Glasgow uni dropout playwright. I'm not a big fat actress playing a stalker. I'm pretty damn busy in my own life, thank you. Oh, did Neil tell you I broke my ankle? He had me running around after him with a broken ankle because he had to make his deadline. Personally, the sooner Scotland and England split, the better. I didn't like USAF, but Scotland in general is run very well. See out this banana Republic of England. Well, I'm waiting for a phone call and I googled up Lord Stark, Walker, Ray, and Baby Reindeer. A journalist from Scotland told me to watch out for what was going to be written in the mail on in day yesterday. It's in today's mail, but was written yesterday, I think. Well, this isn't typical of Laura Ray. She's been the boil on everyone's butt for years in Scotland. Baby Reindeer is a show for kids or 20-somethings. I've not seen Laura Walker Stuart Ray for over 20 years. She headhunted me from another firm. I walked out after 2 weeks because she was impossible. So did half the Labour Party who were lawyers. She stalked Jimmy Ray's first wife, who he was accused of beating. I had been told by half the Glasgow Bar Association Laura Walker was a head case. I was told by all prominent members she was. She offered me double the salary and said I would be up there as her friend. I still have phone recordings of that. Her phone was going bankrupt, but she didn't tell myself and a recently recruited lawyer that. He was also of the opinion she was a head case. I didn't throw a book at anyone. I think I would have been arrested, don't you? I didn't make death threats to her MP husband, now dead, so presumably he can't beat up anyone else. I believe he did beat his first wife, Catherine Davidson Ray. John Robertson said he's such a weird troublemaker you could wring his neck, couldn't you? I.e. one could. I just said what John, a lot of people are saying that. John later become an MP. Mrs. Ray has always contended that the Labour Party put it up to that article because they wanted John to hold the seat. I don't know. I think many of these failures are as bad as each other. Has Gad phoned her? Jimmy's ex-wife was one of the view Laura Walker was stalking her. So let's just get all this put out in the open now, shall we? Levy and McRae should never have let that article go through. I spoke to Bill McCreth today. He said he hadn't seen the article. Also spoke to David McKee, who remembered Walker and her sagas from years ago. I tried to get countrywide injunctions in the interacts against her. I might do so again. She's nuts. What has happened here is the Daily Mail were annoyed on Friday I wasn't going to take call after call from the reporter who had got none of his facts correct. He therefore decided just to print anything. Mrs. Ray does not have Z restraining order because they don't exist in Scotland, but not being very bright, she doesn't appear to know this. She inherited Daddy's firm and ran it into the ground. It was taken over by Mac Phyllis. It's important for the public to know I hit no one with a book and didn't try to kill anyone. Jimmy Ray used to beat people up. He was a boxer from the Gorbals. I was a size 10 wee lassie. How was I gonna beat up Jimmy Ray? Laura Walker is mid-60s. She went off to the bar and people said object to that. I didn't. I wanted to forget she ever existed. I had planned a new life in London anyway. Her firm, and I, Lawrence, was failing anyway, so she married Jimmy to bail her out financially. That didn't work, so MSC fellas bought her, and I think were bought over by Digby Brown, Tam Dehalia, son Gordon being a partner there. Jimmy Ray was so violent he threatened staff. I thought she was a total head case. Her staff from Belliston were so nasty to me. I did have a middle-class upbringing with no money. I was well-educated. Her staff couldn't stand me. I left to go to another job, then down to London. She launched an unprovoked attack on me when I went for Dewar's Westminster seat. Totally unprovoked. I haven't read Laura Walker's full text to the Daily Mail in detail, but frankly, no journalist I know is surprised at the behavior of her and Gad. Both spoiled rich kids who are failures at Glasgow Uni. There's a lot of it about. Yusuf also attended Glasgow Uni, and look at him today. And he was always running off to the Daily Record about Kate Forbes. It really is same old, same old. I needed to do a pass in European law I didn't have in my list of 13 passes for my ILB. Walker doesn't have the proper ILB. Her first degree is in fairy stories. Her ILB is 2-year expedited, one Daddy paid for. So we both ended up on the same course in Glasgow that year. How unfortunate. I wasn't thrown off the course. She is still regarded as a poor little rich girl head case. By God, she's looking rough. What is she, mid-60s? Lawyers have advised me to complain to the Faculty of Advocates about Laura Walker's Stuart Ray. That complaint is being drafted up by lawyers now. It may take some time. I had her insinuations and abuse in the late 90s. So did Jimmy Ray's first wife. So did about 20 other Labor Party members who went to work for her, all sacked, all leaving in tears. I was told by a Glasgow journalist today, oh, don't worry about her, it will blow over. That woman Ray has such vendettas against people she never blows over. Levy and McRae did her divorce. She went to the Sunday Mail about her ex-husband Drew and her brother John. Not to put too fine a point on it, they hated her and also called her a head case. She called her ex-hubby a bagman. He was a prominent loss adjuster. I think her brother was an actor. She really did make the first Mrs. Ray's life hell. Laura Walker uses the Sunday Mail and Mail on Sunday as her personal publicity machine. This has to stop. Someone phoned for an hour. I was relaying the story of Gad and Walker. All of my friends are being very sympathetic. Everyone knows Laura Walker talks nonsense. But it has interrupted me reading that Mail article. She was saying I confided in her. What a lot of rot. She was the most unsympathetic tyrant. The first Mrs. Ray even said to me, Laura Walker, a man, she acts like one. I had a miscarriage when I worked for her. Shut up, she said. My boyfriend thought she was a wacko jacko. Then we've got the bit. I'm from a small village. Yes, I am. My mother's side of the family were farmers there for 500 years. Basically helped build the village. It's a beautiful village. But guess who moved in unbeknown to me years later? Laura Walker bought an old cottage and lived there with Drew Walker before they got rid of each other. They used to have screaming matches in the main street, but I didn't know any of this till years later. An old school pal told me. It's a very small village and everyone wanted the commotion to stop. So she lived there when I didn't, you see. She was probably stalking me even then, LOL. The internet keeps crashing, so her firm went bust. She got pregnant with Jimmy Ray, had a disabled child. Someone reported them to social services. Not me, it's not my style. She had been nasty to folk for years. He had been accused of wife beating. They had loads of political enemies. I had left the Labor Party. I was not following all their political criminality. Jimmy Ray was deselected. He had loads of enemies. The ex-speaker fell out with him. Michael Martin, George Galloway fell put with him. Said Tommy Sheridan, so did the MP for Spring Burn. He had some strokes and died. I think it would be no picnic living with Laura Walker. Why is Laura Walker getting involved in this? The Daily Mail said they wouldn't go to her to pick on old scabs, if you like. Is Gad her pal, or how did this happen? I think the minute I made it clear I wasn't cooperating with the Daily Mail and its abusive reporter on Thursday, the Daily Mail went to the Mail on Sunday. I don't know. The two explanations are possible, and I don't think a woman mid-60s would be sitting watching Baby Reindeer. I told the Daily Mail reporter on Saturday I would call police if he ever approached me again. He had been verbally abusive, ordered me around, and I thought he was just too stupid to be writing anything. I think he went to Laura Walker or tipped off his mate to do that. I'm inclined to believe it wasn't Gad, but don't know. I have to address the allegation I threw a book at someone in a law firm because it simply did not happen. I'll tell you some of the things that did happen at Laura Walker's dad's firm, though. People left in droves. Her secretarial staff were so nasty. Drawers full of files not attended to. Staff made to clean toilets, and someone dressed up as a gorilla. At a party. That was Ian, someone moaned about that. She berated staff to the Law Society all the time when they had done nothing wrong. She called another lawyer a bitch because she had met a really nice guy in America and went to live there. Fiona, you dress so nicely, she said. I don't need to tell you how to dress, she said. She was very mean to other women about their clothing. Unhinged behavior. Laura Walker had an affair years before with Gordon Jackson QC. I think the brother found him in bed, or the husband, and ran off to the press. Everyone in Scotland had a giggle about that. Gordon was Alex Salmon's lawyer and was disciplined recently. Basically, Laura Walker had been all over the press for years. The Sunday Mail always, when she married Jimmy Ray, it was the Mail on Sunday. She enjoyed it. The divorces, the Gordon Jackson thing, the defamation case, the harassing of Catherine Davis and Ray, the harassment of me when I was going for a Westminster seat, the harassment of her own brother and ex-husband, the list is endless. Hair always dyed bottle yellow. It was a Gad-like circus. Hey, Gad could write about that firm, eh? Make it a sitcom. Internet's crashing again. Then we had Jimmy Ray's brother who said Jimmy hit him like a raging bull. We had Catherine Davidson with a detached retina all over the Sunday Mail for years and years. We had stories of the Rays when she had the baby and all the melodrama of the delivery room. Then she was going to write a book about the Labour Party. Funny that 25 years later, I haven't seen that book. I think the Daily Mail have behaved atrociously. Is Gad ever gonna leave me alone in that Walker women? OMG. Who's worse, Gad, the Daily Mail, or Walker? Talk about an abusive society. Laura Walker went to Park School for Girls, a fee-paying Glasgow school. It's atrocious, or was in those days. Prior to that, a journalist told me she'd been thrown out of 3 schools. I was told that years ago. I went to the local comp was at the top of the school. Gad went to a fee-paying school. These kids that go to few paying schools are taught they are better than the rest of us because their parents have more money. That's all wrong, totally wrong, and that's where all the bullying comes from. Walker's father had a drink problem. I don't know if she does, but what a fantasist. If anyone threw a book at anyone in any law firm, they'd be arrested on the spot. That's a totally new allegation. The rest is our same old Glasgow Park School for Girks drivel. I asked Anne McCutcheon MP about Walker after I left the firm. Oh, you are well out of that, said Anne. No one I know has a good word to say about her. The day before the defamation case, Jimmy Ray won. Apparently the two of them were having dinner at Lord Johnson's house. That's highly unethical. Journalists also told me that. It was also said he or another judge hearing the case said it's okay to abuse your wife. I definitely heard those comments at the time from journalists and lawyers. So if people want to attack me like I'm a rabid animal and accuse me of ridiculous behavior I'm not guilty of, then I think it's fair comment that I tell everyone what I heard about the Rays at the time. I have a photographic memory. I think I'll put it in a book. I waited 25 off years to have my say. Internet's crashing again. So 6 times on 3-hour tape. The tape was 3 hours long, at least with Neil Sears. He says at least 6 times that he's not going to Laura Walker, that he hates Gad, and Gad is the story. Why is that the story in his sister paper, the Mail on Sunday, then 2 days later? Frankly, I don't think Gad has the intellect to have pulled this off. It's much more simple for Neil Sears to have phoned the call king and said she won't cooperate, do her right over Neil Sears wanted all sorts of files pertaining to Gad. He's not getting them. And then Laura Walker states, oh, Gad didn't want this to come put my name. Damn right he did. He named me to someone in the audience at the festival 5 years ago. Also, journalists known to me are now watching the show. He holds up a big banner in the show saying MP's wife stalker. Anyone Googling that will get the original article. I read that on BBC Breaking News 5 years ago. So I was alerted 5 years ago to the fact Gad was a bloody great lunatic problem. I had forgotten I'd read this big stalker headline was in the show. I don't know him, so I just did not admit to knowing him over the previous 5 years. No one asked me. Not Netflix, the festival, anyone. I don't know him. He's just my stalker. And he's obsessed by me. Laura Walker is a stalker too. I do not see how Daily Mail journalists could take up 25 hours of my time last week, 6 hours in person, the rest in bursts on the phone, and not print one word I said. That's unheard of. I know it's the Daily Mail and it's lies, 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 but those are the facts. I have now read the full Laura Walker story. Now I've got peace and the phones are off. I didn't leave another firm for a 2-week placement. That is a total lie. I just signed a training contract, but Walker could not sign the documents. She's got form for doing this. The Law Society always had difficulty with this. Laura would not sign assignation docs or any docs for lawyers used to withhold pay, and several previous employees complained to the Law Society. It was something 4 years later, not the next day. We ended up in the same European law class. I did 3 subjects as an external student and paid for it. Internet crashing again. It was 4 or 5 years later we ended up on the course together. I passed all 3 subjects well. I was not thrown off. That is a total lie. I did them as an external student. I paid my fees. She was just doing European law. I did that plus advanced labor law and private international. Internet still crashing. God, I've got the patience of a saint. Laura Walker was in the queue behind me. I paid fees first, so she was stalking me. I recall this well because I phoned Alex Riley as General Secretary of the Scottish Labour Party. Alex Rowley and I were good pals for a couple of years. Her being shafted by the Billerate Mafia at the Scottish Labour HQ. I said, guess who was in the queue behind me on this course? Oh no, he said, not just stalker. I said, it's a bit late now. I've already paid the damn fees. He hated her. Because I'm not a private school brat, I don't go around stalking folk and making people's life difficult. Gad and Walker do that. I don't tell lies, so what you're getting on her, Ree, is the truth. Gad Will Gad writes comedy show as based on hyperbole and nonsense. It's the noise up and titillate the 20-somethings. He admitted this. Laura Walker just damn well lies. It isn't befitting a member of faculty. If I allegedly threw a book at someone's head, why was I not arrested now? She's seen Gad so she's playing to the gallery hyped up by the Daily Mail. I've never once in my life heard this allegation before that I threw a book at someone's head. I complained about her to the Law Society. They also thought she was a head case because so many had complained about her. In response, she made up the allegation as she had originally put to the Sunday Mail in an article written by Lynn McPherson. Lynn was struggling to string 2 words together and door stopped me 2 weeks before selections. So this allegation I threw a book at someone's head is in none of these papers, and I have a number of files on this. I also don't have curly hair. Martha is very fat. Sorry, the actress who plays Martha is very fat with curly hair, going gray and maybe from Glasgow. My hair is straightened or wavy and often highlighted red or blonde. I don't have curly hair, but then Laura Walker has only met me twice. Once when she hired me and left me to do all the work. Once when she took me out to lunch. And once when she skipped from the firm and left me and 2 other lawyers and 4 incompetent secretaries to do the work. Now, there were 4 secretaries there, the likes of which I have never seen in any law firm ever. To say they were rough and ready was the understatement of the decade. Most were from Ballastone, an area Jimmy Ray represented. It was a sink estate. The one she's referring to, well, if anyone had tried throwing a book at them, she would have decked them one. I'm from the countryside. We don't get people like that there. Very violent, very mouthy, and very uncouth. They went with her to MacPhailus before she went to the bar. Everyone moaned about them there too. Thanks for watching. If you like the work I do here and want to help support the channel, there's a PayPal link on the homepage. All donations are appreciated and help maintain the channel. Laura Walker's father's firm, L&L Lawrence, went under with huge debts. Her father had been a lawyer, her mom died of cancer, and she left her brother John looking after her. She did nothing. I don't know what disabilities Frankie's had. He'd be about 25 now. Sorry to hear he has disabilities. Anything else I recall about Laura Walker, etc., I'll let you know on here. I'm sure you will. This journalist I know watched 2 episodes of Baby Reindeer. I'm sworn to secrecy as to who it is for a fee. He watched it this weekend. He says, would you like to know you've been to jail for not just 9 years, but 4.5 years on top of that? Giggle, giggle. Gad changes the story more often than he gets green spots on his face. What in God's name did Martha do to get 13.5 years? The pokey. I'll tell you what, she had a playwright who knows nothing about the criminal law who followed nonsense written by Lynn McPherson. But Lynn McPherson didn't write the original Sunday Mail script. Laura Walker did, word for word. And she was a hopeless lawyer, knew damn all about facts and evidence. Jimmy Ray was not faithful to Laura Walker. Everyone knew he had another mistress. If there is anything else I need to clarify, be sure and tell me. I've been wanting to set the record straight. Oh, and by the way, I knew Gad Googled the article years ago because folk who hated him told me years ago. They drank in the Halley Arms and he owed them money. I didn't know he'd written a play till it was announced on BBC Breaking News 5 years ago he'd done it at the Fringe. I no longer went into the Halley Arms after he had a manic attack at me one day, but week after week he'd berate me in there. That has been in the newspapers. I found this put from staff and customers, so did friends of mine who all want the pub shut down ASA. They all want the Halley Arms shut down ASAP. So who was this guy who allegedly assaulted Gad? Is this a true story or made up? Journalists would like to know. The Daily Mail were obsessed with this one guy, Sean Foley. Did Gad's daft-wee lawyer say it wasn't him and his name should be erased because he's another theater lovey, or what happened there? If this assault does exist, I'll tell you who would know. The Manchester Male Survivors Assault Group. Gad keeps boasting he's an ambassador for, and Sandy Brindley of Abuse Crisis Glasgow. The former blab about all the client base. Brindley has a problem with male advocates. I wonder if she thinks Laura Walker's behavior is abusive. Perchance I'll ask her. What my lawyers have done, they have got letters off to a wide range of bodies in the UK asking if Walker, Gad, and Neil Sears are abusive, because I think that 3 of them are. Laura Walker is a bona fide stalker. She made my life hell at the uni. She tried getting me kicked out the Labour Party. I'd already left by that point. She tried interfering with jobs. Does Gad know all this? If he does, he's more of a stalker than I thought. She wanted me dead. She killed Jimmy Ray with her nagging. Jimmy was moaning about it. Walker wanted me dead. She mad. Walker likes to get her own way. No one listens to her, and this infuriated her. I already had all my legal qualifications. There was damn all she could do. I think she lives near Stirling with some henpecked guy. I, of course, have not had the right of reply to the Mail on Sunday article. The regulators would be alarmed about that. If Laura Walker had not attacked me during those parliamentary elections 25 years ago, there would be no baby reindeer. Cause the show focuses on that article from what journalists have said Walker wrote the defamatory article. She should be suing Gad for breach of copyright. If she had a brain in her head, which she never did, which is why every file in HARRASSING went put for counsel's opinion. Cause she didn't know basic law. Every lawyer in that firm moaned about that. So she'd say, I'm going to meet counsel, meaning she was skivvy out of the office to go to a country club or the Balmoral and try picking up men. Sad but true, very sordid. It's amazing the things I've recalled about her crap firm. I referred a client to another firm cause she sacked everyone and there was no one to send tribunal that day. Internet crashing again. What I don't understand is why journalists, all older men and women, are obsessed by this ridiculous show. It shows a weakness of intellect on their part. 2, why Gad was allowed to oogle customers and use his info years later. He Googled me up 12 years ago. There were complaints to management. 3, I don't understand why Laura Walker would get involved in this 25 years later apart from the fact she's very vindictive. 4, his direct manager at the Halley Arms now unsuccessfully runs a bar on the South Coast. The guy is constantly stoned and agreed Gad was being vindictive when complaints were made by lawyers. 5, why in God's name do executives at the Halley Arms think that this is a true story? Another Scottish actress went in there. I can't recall her name, but Johnny the barman and others accuse her of breaking a mirror in the gents' toilet. This was crap, she didn't. I even offered them one of my mirrors. Oh, it's not actually broken, said Johnny. We made that up to get rid of her. I think that actress was from Dundee like Gad, because my pal knew her, it later transpired. 6, if there were so many incidents in the Halley Arms, why weren't police called? They pay off the licensing police over drugs. That's common knowledge. But if Gad and I had so many bust-ups in real life, which we didn't, why no police in the Halley Arms? 7, my friend lives opposite the Halley Arms. He has a law degree, ex-journalist. He hated Quinn's. Do still went in the Halley. He'll say he saw none of the alleged goings on. His wife has the CPE. She won't go in there. Staff is so rude. I said, don't go in there. You'll end up in a bloody play. Frankly, I just don't get Fruit Loops like Gad and Walker. A load of folk have PTSD and bad illnesses. They don't berate other people and make lives hell. 3, 2 have made my life hell and I'll sue them. And OMG, Laura Walker is still a bad dresser 25 years later. What a mess. I'd give anything not to be in this circus. So would I, the boyfriend, saying he wants to put the lights out. LOL. Nighty. Alright, so we finally reached the end of our Facebook posts from just one single day. All of these posts on this video were from April 29th, 2024. The first post of the day was at 6:10 a.m. and the last one was 7:57 p.m. So it took me over 30 minutes to scroll through and audibly read her posting activity of just 14 hours. Everything she posted on this video was posted in just under 14 hours. That is insane. So yeah, I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that she could have sent Richard 41,000 emails over a 2-year period. So that's about it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and God bless.